Okay. Okay, we had some problems here, but everything's cool. Everything's cool. We're online on Facebook. We're online on YouTube. And again, every time we have a technical issues, we always have a fantastic show. Okay, Angela, you here? Yes, she's here. Okay, so Angela, we're good. I'm going to set up the engineering and play the intro. And since we don't, yeah, since we had this happen, this will allow people a little bit more time to come in. So I'm going to play. I am going to play something a little bit longer than usual, so people will have time to come in because of what's occurred. Okay, so let's do something fun. How about that? Let's do something fun. Okay, we'll do this one. Hang on. This one's for you, Angela, and I think it'll set the mood for. It'll set the mood for the show. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna share screen. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you, Archangel Michael, or whoever and everyone that helped us get this corrected. We'll be back in 3 minutes and 18 seconds with Angela Dwelle. We're gonna have a fantastic show. I would really, really recommend that you stick around for this one.
Todd Medina, Solar One Studios, coming to you from the front line of the ascension, the unveiling, the apocalyptic trip that we're all on. And it's nothing to be afraid of. Put your energy into it. That's the only way to take it. If we got a chance in this thing, the best thing you can do is act like you do. Let's do it. What do you think we came here for, this life? It's a choice, not a chore. Yeah. For too long, we have denied and defied and ignored. Yeah, with a little help to keep us in the dark from the devils, the cabals, and the Illuminati. But guess what? They are our creation. Just like the racism and the sexism, the homophobia, the wars, and all the isms. But can't you see the power of the words, I gotta be me? Yeah. Same thing as I am soul. That's what this is all about. That's how we light this world up. We are the spark and the flame. Things aren't the same anymore. Ask yourself, what are you living for? Something you were told, something you never questioned. All those rules that you followed, but who made those rules? The same ones who taxed our lives and our pockets, our children and our parents? Yeah. Ill-contrived, full of lies, taking profits, making them gods, all the time using them to keep us at odds with each other. Yeah. Creating ownership, possession. That's against the law, the only law that matters, the universal law. It's a violation. Can't you see? If it's not good for the universe, it's not good for you or me. Hell no. The only thing we own is our soul. And nobody can take it from us, and nobody can save it for us. So don't think when you take a stand, you identify with a clan, a political brand, a culture, color, label, or creed. It's a darkness you feed. Yeah, that's right. Like it or not. What you hate you see is the I am in you and me. And we are better than that. And the world cannot hold back the power of even one soul. But you know what? We gotta try. There's no place to hide. The truth abides. And we are the dream that never dies. That's right. I am soul. Remember, every time you see a brother or a sister out there, someone on the other side, somewhere in the world or across the street or anywhere, another color, another creed, another culture, just remember that's you that you're looking at. And remember, we only have one thing in common. I am soul. And that's it. Namaste.
Okay, we had to get a little radical because the energies are radical with us. We've got a really special show. We have a really special person coming on, Angela Dwelle. She's been part of the YouTube community, and we haven't really done a lot with YouTube. We didn't start on it till the beginning of last year, but she's always been there, and she's always made some great comments. And anyway, she's here on the show today, and her guides have told her that everything's a go, and that I can ask her anything about her incredible life. So let's see what happens. Welcome everybody from YouTube and from Facebook. And we are working on an alternative to this type of thing happening. Okay, you good?
I'm good. I'm here.
We made this shift happen. You see,
Yes.
It's going to be a great show. It's going to be a great show. Right on, man. So we were talking before the show, and first I just want to say this is a really big pleasure for me because I read energy like we all do, and I've always felt your energy. And we didn't start on YouTube in earnest until the beginning of last year, and even then it was a little sporadic in 19. But this year we've been real consistent, and it's grown quite a bit. It went from like 500 people to I think it's almost at 6,000 now. But you and Bruce and Leonard, and there's just a bunch of people that just tune into YouTube, and I'm really appreciative of that. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Yes, thank you for having us on your show. Thank you for all the shows you do. I can't tell you how much your show has helped me over the years.
Wow, that's
just to believe that this stuff is real.
Yeah, right.
And that you're not going crazy. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. And there's still people feeling that way, you know?
Yes.
And this is what's crazy is people like you, because I don't even have to ask you, but we are gonna get into the discussion. I just got hit with something else. But the fact that people that have been awake like yourself for a long time, that are still going, hey, you know, and it's a great compliment, but I mean, just as an example, it's not about Soulsy, but to go, hey, I love tuning into these shows because it makes me realize I'm not crazy. And but imagine the people that are just waking up. Imagine the people that are just waking up in the middle of a quarantine. And so this is why we have 25 plus shows scheduled this week with the Lionsgate. This is why we're going to just put our nose to the grindstone and the pedal to the metal and just keep pushing this thing because, you know, this is what it's all about. And then having an opportunity. I think I reached out to you, right? Didn't I ask you if you want to come on? Or
yes. I seen a message.
Yeah.
My guides were wanting me to make videos, and I was stressing about how to make my first video for a very long time. And so they showed me your video, and they said, "Now look at how easy that was. Look how much he's grown. Look how far he's come. You started watching him. You know, me started watching you probably. I don't know." It wasn't in the very beginning, but it was at least like 5 years ago, maybe. I can't remember. Roughly.
It was pretty far back.
It was pretty far back.
That was in the raw stage there. That was in the primitive caveman.
Literally. Hey, I started there too. For real.
There. No shirt, no shave, hungover.
I wasn't there.
Yeah, I was like back in the day. Yeah, I got like tears coming out of my eyes when you said that, just the energy of it. So we had a problem. We haven't had a problem, and we had a technically a technical problem, a tech problem, which when we have a tech problem, I swear to everybody here, we always have an incredible show. And I've never had the tech issue that came up today. I never had this error message, which basically wouldn't let me go on anything, and then we went on YouTube, then it shut that down, and yet here we are. And you made the remark before the show that this happens to you all the time,
regularly. Yes. Hold on, I had something there for a second, and now it's going away.
I have a feeling there's a whole team of your crew over there is trying to bust through, and this is great. So we welcome them all. I know they're all aspects of you, but we want to
Yeah.
recognize each one of them individually. Yeah, as part
I
of this.
remember, hold on. So basically I've spent my whole entire life trying to blend in.
Yeah.
And not speaking my voice, not speaking what I got, not speaking any of my experience. And today is my first video of doing that. 100% first
Wow.
video
What an honor. What
of
an
my whole
honor.
life.
Wow.
Yes.
I mean, we've had now 2,100 Soul Speak 5D episodes, and I bet there's been, I can't even count. I would bet you there's been, out of 2,100 episodes, there's probably been, I would think at least 1,000 people, because some people come back a second time or whatever.
Yeah.
But if say it was 1,000 people, I bet you that 200 of them came out for the first time, and I bet you out of that 200, probably 175 were women.
Wow.
If not more. So
That's awesome.
this is, I don't know if you've heard this on previous shows, but 2 years ago, where were we at? 2 years ago, 2 years ago in May of 2018, Morgan came for the second time, and we were in this really special place in Georgia, and we were there. I mean, it was like as soon as she got there, the first night she went through this wild thing, and I'm holding space, and it was incredible, but it just happened night after night for several days. We had, we watched each other morph into, different incarnations. And I'm talking on planet, off universe, two heads, tall, little, and it was incredible. And then we also had another episode a couple nights later where a bunch of masculine aspects came into the room. And as time's gone on, I realized, because two of them they entered me from the back. One was a my Syrian aspect, and one was a Alpha Centaurian aspect. But what else happened then was we would lay down every afternoon like we do at night, but we'd lay down in the afternoon, and Solargy came in. And literally, Solargy came in as part of the third energy that we've created, part of our mission. And it showed us as a golden tree bearing golden fruit.
Wow.
And it said, "You are the caretakers of me, and I am now in and of myself self-sufficient. I'm my own consciousness. I'll start communicating with you." But one of the things that Solargy told us was that this is a platform for the voices of the Mother Goddess, meaning that part of all of us, man, woman, or child, that has been suppressed, and we all know the story, right? So this is what you represent: the power, the true power of the divine feminine, the one mother, the Mother Goddess, that is not just landed, but is actually spreading out all over this earth grid. So I thank you, and I thank all those like you, because you cannot underestimate the power of one unique and equal soul, especially a badass goddess. So,
Thank you.
So
Couldn't do it without the masculine too, though, behind us.
Absolutely.
I got a divine union with my man, and he is my rock, like for real, my rock.
Oh, we're gonna have. Well, I'm already lining up the sequel. We're gonna have a second episode, maybe a third, because we got to get you guys on together if you'll do.
Yes, definitely.
You said before the show that your team told you that he can ask you whatever he wants, which on the surface doesn't, kind of sounds like, oh, what does that mean? But that told me energetically, I knew immediately that you had a full plate, a wide berth of experience. So I would imagine that you've been dealing with your multidimensionality and your psychic, what we call psychic gifts, skills, abilities since you were born.
I can remember back to like being born, the day I was born, and my consciousness changed. I can remember that. I can remember like just weird things happening in my childhood. Like I remember I was really young, and I was born into a family of 7 children, and I was number 5. So like I was kind of lost in the shuffle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I was off doing things with my siblings quite a bit, like going outdoors and, you know, exploring and just having fun and doing your best to stay out of trouble and stuff. But I was like fed food that we grew on our land, and like, so I was really sheltered. I was born Jehovah's Witness into the religion. I didn't know much about it at the time, but they kept saying in there over and over again that you are, when you're dead, you're conscious of nothing. And when I was like, I don't know, like 4 or 5, my dog ended up getting shot. And what happened is I saw the dog go and like sniff its own body after it was dead. I didn't realize it was the dog that got shot at first, and it like freaked me out. So I you know, I lost my sight. I'm still working on getting that back all the way, but it freaked me out too much. So I knew that wasn't real. I knew that wasn't the way that things went. And I knew enough that everybody else around me believed it so strongly that I couldn't say what I knew. It would like freak them out. So I had to pretty much keep everything to myself and learn to like just function that way, you know, in life, which served me pretty well.
Were you getting like, were you aware of a support team? Your
Not back then, but kind of. I just thought it was me. I didn't realize there was more. I would have things visit us, my family. It was like things were going really well, and then all of a sudden there'd be this heavy energy, and I was always aware of when this heavy energy was around. And I'm a feeler, like a really strong feeler. It's almost like a knowing, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
And what I would get is like, I would notice when people would change, like when something would jump in somebody else. I would know this as a child. I was always trying to figure out what the heck it was because it scared the living daylights out of me.
Yeah.
But I was aware that there was way more things going on than met the eye. You know what I mean? And
yes.
As an adult, or as a child back then, I had made up my mind that I wasn't wanting to be in this religion. I believed in God, but I didn't believe in this religion.
Right.
And so about 15, my parents divorced, and I ended up going off and just living life and forgetting about things and just, you know, boys and this and that and like everybody else. And it was almost like I was searching for happiness.
Yeah.
And, you know, because I didn't feel like I had it as a child. I didn't feel like I had gotten love or anything like that. And so I was always searching for it. And it was like, I just kept hitting wall after wall after wall after wall, like things just blocking me from every direction. And it was like I would get part of what I wanted, but it was never the whole thing. And it wasn't until I was like, fuck it, I give up. You know what I mean? Just like, I don't even care anymore. And then things finally started coming my direction. I've met my divine partner finally.
When did you meet him?
2007, I believe.
Wow. So y'all been together 13 years.
13 years, yeah.
Right through I mean, you guys have been through the ascension together.
Yes, we totally woke up together. Like he believed me 100% on everything from day one, supported it, grew with me. Like our whole entire family, I have 3 children. They're teenagers now, 1 preteen and 2 teens.
Wow, that's even more impressive. I wonder that's a whole nother story there. That's another episode.
We work as like a light worker family, spreading code and light like everywhere we go. And like my kids are all, they know what's going on. They're aware. Like these kids. Well, yeah,
they got you for a mother and him for a father.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
And you're in Montana.
Yeah.
There's only one place I'd rather be than Montana, and that's South Australia.
Nice.
Where Morgan's from, but yeah, Montana's cool. River Run Through. It's my favorite movie. I've written probably, seriously, I kid you not, I've written 1,000 pieces to a 2-minute and 23-second theme of River Runs Through It. Just I play over and over and over when I came off the streets, and just write to that music.
It was a good show. Had good energy.
It's the best show I've ever seen in the universe.
Totally.
Besides the one we're making.
Exactly. So what do you want to know?
So when did when did your team walk in the door and you knew? I mean, like,
So,
I mean,
so basically,
did you have an
yeah.
apparitions or visitations, or just it's all third eye?
So
Or
one day, this was before my last kid was born. John and I, that's his name, were having like a argument, and it was a weird argument. It was like one of those arguments where the other person doesn't mean to offend you, but offends you almost. But like what you say back offends them, but you're not meaning to either. And it was almost like, no, it just wasn't going anywhere. You know what I mean? And yeah, it was almost like you're being mucked with on both sides, is what I would call that.
Yeah.
And so I went in one direction. I went into the bathroom, and we were still really early in our relationship, so we didn't know each other 100% well then. And I literally like sat down for a second in the bathroom, and I'm just like, I'm hearing like 5 different voices talking smack at me at once.
Wow.
And I remember observing my own voice saying, wow, do I really feel that way? And I was like, that's kind of harsh. And literally the voice was like, got paranoid and like stopped mucking with me. And I was like, are you another being? And it was like, I felt fear.
Yeah.
And then everything went quiet. And I was like, what the heck just happened? So I go out of the door to go tell him what just happened. And I was like, he's going to either think I'm crazy and leave me, which I don't even care at this point because I got bigger problems.
Right on.
And so I go out and I tell him what just happened. He's like, you're not, and his eyeballs are just like this big already when I came out. I didn't realize it at that moment, but I stop and I say this to him, and he's like, you're not going to believe what just happened. And I said, what? And he says, as soon as you went in the bathroom, there was an apparition of a dark being just appeared like right where you're standing and disappeared as soon as you came out the door. He's like, I believe you 100%. I'm like,
such is life in the house of John and Angela.
Oh my God, yes. You don't even know.
No, I do know. I can tell.
Oh my God.
But it doesn't sound like that was your team. It sounds like that was
No. That's where I was like, okay, so if that exists, then there's positive beings somewhere. Where's my positive people at? Where's my highest light? I didn't realize I was casting a net straight to my higher self at the time, but I was. And basically I leapfrogged over everything else, all my other night sides that weren't in line yet, and basically had them lead me to where we are today. Like our whole, like my partner's higher self, our children's higher selves, all of us have together worked together to lead us to where we are today.
You mean, no, hang on a second. So from a literal sense, okay, literal. You 3 children, your husband and you talk openly about your higher selves. Each of you connect to your higher self.
Yep. Yes.
Holy shiitake mushrooms, man.
Yeah, that's why you're having problems.
Huh? That's why what?
That's why you're having technical problems.
Well, I can relate to like that argument, right? Both in a past marriage, because there was a lot of that type of energy around. I would call 4th dimensional astral plane energy, archonic energy, right? And then I can also relate to and I've even had people write me, like couples will say, do you ever feel like there's something trying to interfere with you guys?
Yes,
you know?
Yes.
And as time's gone on and as our field's gotten stronger, it's non-existent. But I mean,
it don't work anymore.
But there was an uphill. It was people look at us and they go, oh my God, you guys, somebody told me the other day, they're on the show, like, oh, well, my relationship isn't as romantic and sexy as you and Morgan. I'm like, man, wait a minute. I mean, we have been like, like, you know what I'm talking about, but
it takes work.
So really that episode sounds like it was almost like the birth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From that, it led to me finding out that my mother had woke up prior to us, and she was working for the night side, and she was sabotaging us completely. over and over and over again.
Wow, we have very similar stories here.
For real?
Just leave it at that. Right.
Wow.
Now
Thank you for saying that.
was she consciously working
Yes.
with? Okay,
Yes.
so yeah, that's interesting. That really is. You know, that's God, we could talk. We're gonna have a lot of shows together, aren't we?
Yes,
What
we
do you?
are.
We are, aren't we? I can
I'm
feel it.
good. Yes, I'm
I can
good.
actually feel it. We could. There's. I mean, I could take that subject with you, and I know we could talk
Oh
for
yeah,
well over an hour.
at least.
So yeah. So you live in Montana. Do you live in a town, or do you have like a acreage, or what?
We live in a town, but we do have acreage. We just literally, our higher selves led us to buy this like 5-bedroom house. It's like our dream house, literally. Um, I can't even believe we're here. And like this land, and they are wanting us to create conscious food. Like we've already been doing it for like 5 years, literally. And I eat it like every day. It's the bomb. Like it
So
raises your
so
vibration like
when
no
you say
other.
conscious food, you mean you're speaking to
Reprogram
the
it.
yeah, you're speaking to
Reprogram
the
it.
soil, you're speaking to the
Yep.
feed, you're speaking to
Yep. The
the
seeds,
plants as they
the
grow.
plant as they grow, just
Wow.
programming them, asking them to like make and we sell
So
them to people too to wake them up comfortably, positively, easily, softly, like
man, I'm
sovereignly.
coming. I'm gonna give
You got to come eat some of this
I'm gonna
food,
get my
man.
friend. Well, my plan was when we went to Florida. This couple over here gifted us an RV, and we rented it after the first month. But my plan was to go to Montana and go see
Nice.
Laura and go. I've been to like almost 40 states. I've never been to Montana,
Yeah,
but
you got to
now,
come here. You're
yeah,
always welcome.
absolutely, man. Absolutely, I'm coming. You better believe it.
That's
So you
awesome.
guys are growing. You guys have been now. When you say your higher selves have directed you, is it yours? Is it your kids? Is it your husband's? Is it all of them? All the higher
They
selves?
teach me as much as I teach them. My kids
Okay.
is higher selves and my kids in general. Like
Of course, yeah.
there's
Of course.
times where I'm out of sync and everybody else in my family will be in sync and it'll put me back in sync. Like we don't trigger each other barely,
Yeah.
at all
So,
anymore. Like we
so
walk through it really easily.
I mean, it's like
It's
one of your
good.
kids ever walk in the door and go, "Hey, my higher self just told me such and such."
No,
Do
not yet. I wish, but
But I mean,
sometime.
what I've noticed about these young kids is they don't get that type of explicit intel. They just know, like
Yeah,
they
yeah,
just, you
yeah.
know what I mean? They're just
They're
like
living it already.
my littlest one's 18, and she would tell me back at like, and this would have been like, I came off the streets summer of 2013. I got her back and her sister, and so she would have been something like 12,
Yeah,
12, 13. Now they're both girls. They're a year apart. They're hitting puberty and boys and all that. So you know how that phase goes.
yeah,
And I'm waking up and starting Sology at that time,
yeah.
and doing my thing out of the, online. And, but anyway, I would tell her, I would say stuff to her and she would say, she would say to me, I do what I want. But
Exactly.
she wouldn't
No,
say it in a mean way. She would just
no.
say, I do what I want, and like, in other words, if she saw no reason for her not to be able
Yeah,
to do what she wanted. And
yeah.
she has actually manifested incredibly at 18 years old. I mean,
That's
she is,
awesome.
yeah, through very difficult times because her mother died.
Yeah.
And, there was a lot of trauma, a tremendous amount of trauma, yet she blew right through it, man. So yeah, I get that. They don't get the same type of intel, but like I
My
know,
my yo- Hold on. My youngest son, when he was born and he was little, he used to be able to read my thoughts. He still can.
yeah,
Like that's normal for our family. Like
yeah,
no thoughts are private, no thoughts are hidden. And like let me think. My other son, he has other aspects of him, like talking to me and coming to me. Like he was my dad in another life, and that version of him still connects with me. And I've seen like his 5D version has come back from 5D to smile at me and be like, I made it. Because I was worried about him for a little while when he was going a little crazy with being a teenager. So
Now he sounds
Sometimes
like
to sleep
he
with that
sounds like
on.
he sounds like he's from the same branch of the tree of life as me.
Yeah,
So where do you park your spaceship? Is it right behind you? Is that the
exactly
landing
right.
pad?
That's where we're building our new farm.
Oh
We'll be right back
wow.
there.
So do you guys do that full time? Just the growing part of it?
Not not yet. My partner went to school. He's a horticulturist,
Oh wow.
and he manages like a nursery garden center here in town, but we do this on the side because I had so many allergies being empathic and stuff. Like I'm really sensitive to food, so we started uh, making our own food basically. And from doing that, we're like, well, we might as well branch it out and let other people do it. And it was like such a hit. Like everything we grow, we've sold. Like we
Really?
can't grow enough.
You
Like we
can't
can't
keep it.
grow enough.
Now, I'm just curious, just there's no right or wrong answer, but I'm just curious,
Yeah.
do you guys eat meat or you just strictly eat vegetables?
Occasionally.
Occasionally. You're okay.
Yeah.
That's like we
We're
do.
kind
Yeah.
of both.
Yeah.
We just look, yeah.
Yeah.
I let the kids choose for themselves too. I
Yeah.
don't like make them be one way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm with you, man. That's the way it ought to be. You know,
Sure.
I gotta have a hot dog once a month. But, yeah. So, wow, this is fascinating. I had no idea. You know, Morgan would tell me, because really we're sitting here because of her. Well, I don't know. I mean, it goes
Thank you,
back.
Morgan.
Yeah, it goes back to like, we were in Hawaii. We got to download. We were in the Monad, 24 people, 60 years ago. We planned this, and so it's obviously much deeper. But she, back in the day, back in 2015, I'd already been doing it, and she said, you should have a talk show, and so this isn't just about you. That's the way she said it
Yeah.
to me. I'm like, okay. So anyway, my point is I remember, and she calls all this stuff. I mean, she's an oracle, and
Yeah.
she'd say this is going to happen, that's going to happen, but she's not. She's very humble. I mean, she's not like.
Yeah.
But anyway, one of the things she said to me was, "This is the year, as we're approaching 2020." She goes, "This is the year where she's really going to rise." And she said, "Let me tell you what's going to happen, Todd. They're going to start coming. They're going
Yeah.
to start coming." And that's what I've noticed, especially since about March, that
Yeah.
these women that have been in the background, like they've just got like, I mean, so much sacred wisdom and energy and frequency,
Yeah.
like yourself, and they're just coming in. They're coming in, and they're it's like a fire hose.
Yeah.
There's no way to stop it now, which is
It's not meant to
beautiful.
be stopped. Yeah.
No, hell no. No, we're not stopping now.
It's only going to
Yeah.
get bigger.
So, so how big is the town you live in? I'm just curious because I want to get
Oh, geez, that's a better question for John, but
So,
I'd say like a couple thousand people.
yeah. So you have bears and you have mountain
Oh, yeah.
lions and you have,
Yeah, every wild animal you could possibly think of.
yeah.
Yeah.
We stayed in we were gifted a cabin in Northern California, like remote, 42
Yeah.
acres bordering
Oh.
210 acres of Bureau of Land Management on a river. So we
Wow.
basically had 250 acres to ourselves.
That's so
And
cool.
there were bears everywhere. I
my
got
God.
called out of bed on the second night to go outside, and I'm big with the animals.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's how I got into the game, basically. I mean, it was the trees and the nature beings and animals. And then the second to the last night I was there, a freaking mountain lion came up onto the back patio. Yeah. So merging with that energy is incredible, and the birds and everything. But I mean, I bet so like when I talk to people, and you've watched enough shows, some people like connect to the elementals, some connect to the galactic, some to the angelic, and so on. I get the feeling that over there must be a huge animal kingdom presence and nature being and that type of thing. Yeah,
definitely. John and I go around and go to the wildest parts we can find and bring like stones or things like even stick would work from those regions that are really potent, and stick them into areas that are like not as potent, closer to town.
Yeah.
And it like amplifies. It's almost like gridding, and we do like I guess you do a pillar of light straight back to source to clean that area and like upgrade it and do stuff like that. So we do a lot of stuff like that with the land, I guess.
Wow.
If any of that makes sense.
Absolutely, man. I don't know if I went up there, I'd probably stay. at least 6 months of the year anyway.
Really nice.
I'm not sure how I do with that severe snow up there. But,
Yeah, go in the summer. It's much nicer.
but there's something about it because, and I guess it's tied to like, I don't know how the past life stuff works. I don't know if it's like you're dipping into the collective mind or what, but so when I woke up, there was 3 spirit guides, and they were a father, an uncle, and a brother from a Lakota Indian lifetime. And but it was in that region because I always had this thing about freshwater, clear freshwater streams and rivers, and I grew up on the Gulf Coast and salt water, and it just, I did the best I could with it. But there's something about that area that's just huge.
Yeah, I live on an Indian reservation too, which is kind of cool.
Which one is it?
Salish Kootenai. I don't know if you know that one. It's a smaller one.
Is it part of the Lakota?
No, I don't think so. It's like its own branch. It's in between all those. There's
the reason I say that because there's a really good friend of mine that I met in Hawaii, an auntie in Kauai, and she has, I don't even know what it is. It's quite a bit though. Like I want to say a couple 100 acres, because she has, and it's an obscure name. I didn't recognize it. I'm wondering if it's the same area. It's in Montana.
It could be.
So do you guys have much, because I also know people that have been to Montana. I can think of 2 right off the top of my head that have had, more than I would call it almost like an abduction, galactic, interaction. Let's put it that way. Have you had it? Do you guys in that country, do you see a lot of activity in the skies? Do you ever get any kind of galactic sensations or sensitivities popping up?
I'm connected to like all of it. I kind of have an umbrella. I more hear them than see them and feel them, obviously. I interact more that way. I'll get like cloud pictures and things like that, but I don't know if that counts.
Well, I don't know what counts, but you hear them and feel them.
Yeah, they're there.
And so what's the, so you're in a house with 3 teenagers, your husband, everybody's conscious, you're growing conscious food, you're like under the radar, which is so cool. Completely. Which is so cool. And so what? I mean, like, what's like do you guys anything ever happen? You like to look at each other and go, "Oh my God, I can't believe that shit just went down." Like, or has it just become a common thing?
Yeah, that was probably like 3 years back would probably be like the end of all that. Just everything. There's so much I can't even like pull one example even at the moment. Like after you've been surprised and shocked and just, think like when you know what's going on, it's like things don't surprise you anymore.
Yeah, you get over the wow. You get over the wow real quick.
The everyday. Yeah. I still enjoy and am humble towards any of the experiences that I have. They still touch you really deeply,
Yeah.
But like it's kind of just like another day, another one,
Yeah.
And me, the way I am, I don't hold on to anything from the past or the future. I pretty much just live in the now and the present, like nonstop. And so everything just kind of funnels through. So you get what you get when you talk to me anymore.
No, we totally on this end over here, we totally agree with you. I mean, you can't attach to any of it.
Yeah.
You can't attach to Archangel Michael. You can't attach to, I mean, I can't attach to, watching 7 or 8 masculine star beings appear in our bedroom translucent while we're both looking at each other, holding hands naked and vulnerable. You know what I mean? And I'm like looking at him going, like I'm on the street again. Like I'm like, you know what? I'm not scared of you, but don't F with my wife, man.
Yeah.
Like it. So, but anyway, the 2-step enemy, you can't be attached to that. Like I never hardly ever think about those 2 aspects. When those 2 aspects came in, there was a period of probably 2 or 3 months. Cause you know how nothing ever follows a linear. It's like something happens in the physical, you had something in the dimension and then it all adds up. And So there was 2 or 3 months where you communicate or commune with that particular energy, but then you detach from it. Have you had have you had anything that stands out in terms of like a face of the universe that came knocking on your door?
A
Something that
what with the universe?
like a particular essence of the universe or particular face of the universe that came knocking on your door and said, "Hey, what's happening? I got a message for you." Is there anything that stands out, or is it just like one
Yeah,
singular?
I talk mostly to like Archangel Michael and Archangel Azrael. Apparently, they're other aspects of myself. Um, I don't know where I was going with that.
That's all right.
Um,
We're not
I
in 3D. This is 5D.
Yeah,
So
I know, right?
you can change direction anytime you want to.
So my stuff mainly goes there, but I have other ones that visit and stuff. But a lot of times I don't know who they are. They'll just say what they need to say. Some will say what their name is or what they want or what they're doing. Other ones will just do it. My team will say it's okay, and you know, but pretty much everything goes through our higher selves. Everything goes through them, so I trust them implicitly. That's like why I'm here today. So, um, yeah.
So you feel like your higher self is the kind of like the terminal, like the hub, and
Yeah,
everything that comes at you, for lack of a
hopefully
better way to
there.
put it, is going through that channel, and you know that intuitively.
Right.
Yeah.
I
So
feel it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like I can relate that too because like with Morgan and I mean, there's been so many different things, but I can remember like in Hawaii, like for instance, one night like this, the whole room fills up with these really grotesque looking like
Mhm.
blobs and ogres
Oh
and
God.
you know, but like she said later, she was like, well, we've never felt anything but pure love. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what they look like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
guess it's the same type of thing. At some level, uh, our higher self is the hub, and as long as you've been conscious, I think, because I mean, there were times that, especially when I was alone before I met her, that there was some uh, quite a bit of dark energy came to visit,
Yeah.
but I still didn't divorce myself from it. I just had to figure out how to, break bread with it.
Yeah.
So, do your kids ever come to you with any? I mean, you say I know your kids, and you mentioned a minute ago, but your kids, I know, are contributing uh, incredibly to your continued expansion, both
Yeah.
as an individual and as a group. Like, what kind of stuff do they bring to the table, or is it all just telepathic and kind of knowing?
Um, no, my one's a feeler. I know the other one feels too, but he won't admit it. It's pretty funny. But he's more shy about it. He's like, that ain't cool. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
he's got to be cool.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
he
he's
can't.
got to be the cool one. But like there's times where like this happened to us one night. I was in my bed asleep all the way. I I went back into my body, woke up immediately, and it said I heard go to the kitchen table. And I was like, okay. And so I go to the kitchen table, and I meet my son, my youngest, walking out at the same time. And he's kind of scratching his head and looking at me, and he's like, the funniest thing just happened. He's like, I just literally saw you in my dream. You came up walking up to me, and he's like, it was really funny because you had all these eyeballs right here going this way and this way. You had like a bazillion eyeballs, and you said, meet me at the kitchen table in 5 minutes. And so he's like, I woke up from that dream and just came walking out here, and you're at the kitchen table. And I was like, oh my, like that's our normal. Like
Yeah.
that's our
Do you think that's
stuff.
do you think that's going to be more common?
Oh yeah,
Where the what the timelines and dimensions are bleeding over into each other?
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. And I
yeah,
think the kids are just gonna start showing people, like as long as they're brave enough to like look into it.
yeah,
Because when all this really started, it I didn't take it serious until my kid started seeing stuff too when he was really young, and I was like, okay, so if he's going to have to see stuff. I want to know how to handle it.
Yeah.
I want to know what to do with it. I want to know what's there. And I feel like I already have a bunch of experience myself already. So I researched it. I read probably 4,000 books, I would say, because I didn't have anybody around here to ask for information. I didn't know, there was no psychic people where I've lived my whole entire life. Like I haven't been able to find them. So we were pretty much on our own for this. And so I just read books and learned, and pretty much my guides showed me what book to read, when to read it. And I had, before I met John, I had manifested a spinal injury with a nerve problem in my lower back. And so I was kind of tinkering around looking at other kind of healing modalities, because I was on meds for 15 years straight. I'm just now going off of them completely. It's taken 2 years to get here. But I was stuck in the cycle of going to doctors, them switching this, switching that. And I don't know. I had so many things going on in that category too. I had a doctor finally tell me that basically they had no control over what you're on or what you're off. The pharmaceutical industry is what was making the decisions on what I took every day.
Yeah.
And none of it was working. None of it was helping. So I'm going all natural, and I'm healing it with my thoughts, because
Wow.
everything that I tinkered on in myself, as I would untangle myself from the outside in, basically, or from the inside out, I would look in my life and be like, what's up with this situation? Why does this keep bothering me? Why does this keep triggering me? Why does this keep happening? And basically went through every one of those that I had and untangled them. And as I did it, medical things that I had just disappeared.
So you were going into you were going beyond the symptom and going to the root cause.
Right.
And the root cause was what people might call shadow or
right.
trauma.
Right.
Or
always.
And how did you do that? Did you just go quiet and find a space? I know you have a trouble over there finding a place where you can be alone and nobody's bothering you.
Right.
I'm kidding.
No, I do.
Well, the mother, of course, is the last one that gets some peace, right? But
right.
But how did you do that? Did you have a process or modality, or did you just do it instinctively?
I was home all the time with my kids, and so I would use them as little reminders to keep me in the positive state majority of the time and take you out of the lower stuff. But I would go while they were playing and doing their own thing. They would be in their own zone and doing their thing, and I would take a notebook and I would just journal. Yeah. This is what's bothering me. Why does it bother me? And as I did that, I swear it took it out of in here.
So you'd be like, okay, so I've got this nerve pain in my lower back. It's really bothering me. And then where does this come from? And then you just started basically you're channeling. Yeah.
Yes. It would always lead to, what does this remind me of, or what does this tell me about myself, or what where did this come from? Where did I get this thought? Why do I believe this?
Physician, heal thyself.
Exactly.
Right on. This is good stuff, man. We are going to do God knows how many shows over the next few years. I have no idea, or something like that. Something. So you're going to be on the screen, that's for sure.
Yes.
I think we're just going to come up there and we're going to. I know at Walmart you can get that security system has 4 cameras, and you hook it up to your computer. I'm just going to come up there and put 4 cameras or 8 cameras up at your place and flip it on and we'll produce a reality TV show. The new family, right?
We'll come up with something. I don't know if the kids are ready for that, but I don't know.
Dude, they would eat it up, man. Are you kidding me?
Maybe.
And I noticed that with my kids too, because it's again, this was a family that went through a tremendous amount of trauma. Dad's on the streets. Jesus came in the trees. Now dad's homeless for 2 years, walking around, and all my friends see him, and he's crazy. And he's started something called Soul G. My family called it Shit-a-G. But you know what I mean? But it always amazes me because, they're just the way the kids, and I say kids, my kids go up to 30. you know, and there is a difference, I'd say, in the ones that are in the older group, but they still got it. And it's like, they don't have to say anything.
Right.
They just kind of carry this vibe.
Yes.
And if you can stay, I found for myself, if I can stay out of, oh, I'm the dad mode, you know, like do this. And I stopped doing that. I stopped doing that 2-3 years ago. Right.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, because I have one of the younger ones, she's really emotional and she's beautiful and she's gifted. She's been seeing stuff since day one. You know, hey, Dad, Grandma's at the back door. Do you see her? I'm like, no. But so she'll call me up and she'll say, da 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 da, and I'll say, okay. You know, aren't you going to say it? No, it's not my business. Not my business. Not my business. I wash my hands. And you know what? It works. It absolutely works. Yeah.
Works like a charm. They get way more out of it too, like themselves, because then they like self-reflect.
Yeah, exactly.
You notice? Yeah.
Exactly. Something that we used to do until we got programmed and conditioned and all that. But yeah, it's like it's like setting a template or reinforcing a template or an imprint of self-responsibility, self-reliance.
Right.
You know, instead of the harsh way. Like I know, like when I got out of high school and I went to college, I had a truck. I had an old Chevy pickup truck, and I'm trying to leave because I had to drive like 3 or 4 hours. And my dad is putting like everything don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. He's like putting everything into my truck. Like, how am I even, I look like the Beverly Hillbillies, you know, everything was like
rocking truck.
And I'm not knocking my dad. What I'm trying to say is that it's like in the old paradigm, you know, and I worked from, you know, a very young age. And, but it's like, there was like a sharp kind of a break, you know?
Yeah.
And I think the way this works is what you're talking about. You just, you leave them alone, you know, let them flow.
I called them pre-parented. They came pre-parented. I swear.
Yeah.
Like, as long as you don't like program them with the stuff you were programmed with, like you're doing all right. You know, they're doing way better than you were at that point because
that's right.
You know,
that's right. You know, and I mean, when I spent 2 years on the streets, and so there was a lot of the stuff you did, you know, there was a lot of that stuff, you know, and then their mother died, and then I went to jail, and then this and drugs and fighting and all this stuff. Right. And so then I get them back. And so it's so weird because I would be 5D. And then when they came home, I was turning into dad. Right. And so every Friday I would put them in the kitchen and I'd sit them down and I'd pace back and forth in front of them and say, da, 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 why don't you help me? Why don't you get your panties off the floor? Why don't you wash some clothes? Why don't you wash dishes? And I would go into these big, long tirades and they would just look at me. The two of them. They were like 13, 14 to 12, 13. And they would just look at me like, are you done?
Yeah.
And I'm like, resolve. And finally I said, you're not going to help me. Just admit it. And they're like, no, I guess we're not, Dad. And I was like, what? So finally I figured it out. I was like, okay. Because I guess my team was speaking to me. They're like, let them flow. I said, okay. And do it without judgment and do it without resentment. So I did. And the house became an absolute disaster.
Oh my God.
But the energy was incredible. It was incredible. It was free. It was freed up, you know? So.
Yeah. In my experience with my kids, whenever we would have issues like that or something, or whenever I was glitching from my own programming, basically, it was like the things they did that would irritate me the most were a reflection of my trigger that I held inside myself.
Yeah, that's right.
And when I addressed that, the other would go.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. I had to learn that from Morgan, right? Well, many things I learned from Morgan, but one of them, she'd be like, if you change this, then it won't be attracted to you anymore. Like, for example, we got married. No, it was before we got married. So it was after she came the first time. And wherever I'd go, these women would hit on me, right? Subtly and some not so subtly. And I'm very intuitive and I'd be like, fuck off, you know, but I try not to be mean and, you know, whatever. And so one night it all blew up and I was staying at this place and she's like a week from coming over. And that's when we got married. And so I left, and I'm like, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I've got all my luggage. I'm on the streets again. They wouldn't leave me alone. She's like, get back over there now, because I'm coming in a week. Number one, and number two, you're the reason it's happening. I said, what are you talking about? I'm totally loyal. She goes, I'm not saying that. I said, I'm not flirting. I'm not doing nothing. And she's like, no, but it's active in your field.
Yeah.
It's active in your
Yeah.
field. So I used her process, and I did the, 0 point of the polarities, the part that I could, the fidelity and the infidelity. Right. And I put them in the boom, everything. And I haven't had that issue ever since. But that's the kind of thing you're talking about. You change yourself, and then your environment changes.
Yeah.
Especially if
you think about it, all these things that happened with me, I did nothing but change myself, and my whole world changed.
That's right.
Like literally all the people in it, all the people around it, everybody that was able to stick with us, they glow now. Like they legit glow.
Yeah. It's amazing. The power of the soul is amazing. And then where 2 or more gather, it's even bigger, that's soulgy, I mean, it's not the 2 people talking. It's not even the people that are viewing live with us. It's even because there's no linear, it's even the replay, so all that energy is occurring. And man, I think we're in for a hell of a ride, man. This is getting really cool. What do you think about, what do you think this is going to look like in the next, but say through the end of the year? Like, do you think we're going to see like teleporting, bilocating, telekinesis, I mean, like, do you think we're going to see like stuff that's verifiable, valid to a human being, utilizing their 5 senses,
like a 3D human being or a 5D human being?
Well,
the
5D, 5D, we know, I mean, but
because that's what I was going to say. That's obvious. But to the 3D ones, like, they're having experiences. They just don't know their experiences.
Yeah.
Because I'm finding it all over the place. Like, people are saying more psychic things every day. Just my father-in-law the other day, he's like the most woke person I ever met. Does that make sense? Like, he's living it, but he has no idea he's doing it.
That's right.
And he's scared to death of psychic stuff, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
But
it's funny though, but you're right about that.
It is funny.
I look, I had one of my kids, he's 23 or something like that. God, that's horrible. But anyway, he's always been, I don't know. Anyway, he's in college. He's got 3 classes to go, with the quarantine. So he's getting out like in whatever, pretty soon. And he's like, Dad, I need to talk to you. I'm woke, man. He's like, none of this shit makes sense anymore. All my friends are out partying, and he's a party, he's a good looking kid, party, and popular and all, but he's like, I'm in my dorm, I'm spending time alone, I'm watching Alan Watts, I'm watching your show, like, what's happening? Like, this shit ain't real. But
you're not alone.
There's a lot of people, you're right, there's a lot of people that are saying psychic things, what I mean, they are, I mean, that you wouldn't think.
No,
I'm wrong. I remember thinking or getting one time, like years ago, and I say it a lot, but I have a feeling at the end of the day, it's just a big laugh that we're all beating at the same vibration. It just doesn't look that way. Like,
it could be.
It could very well be, like, because what you're woke on, I'm not, and vice versa. And
exactly.
And it only makes sense that, like, what you were describing as kind of a microcosm, like your energy field of you and your family. And like you said, those that stick, that can hang are
they go
golden.
Up with you. Yeah.
And so that would happen. That's happening already.
It is.
It's just not happening in the mainstream. Well, it's not being publicized.
Yeah. But I have to say, the harder the dark is pushing, it pushed me clean through the other side.
Me too.
If it wouldn't have done that to me, I probably would have never sought it any further. You know what I mean? Look how hard they're pushing anyway.
Yeah.
To everybody right now.
Yeah.
They
push
really
me.
Leaving them much choice.
Yeah, they push me, and I think I've always said too that a stubborn a stubborn soul makes a stubborn human, you know. And so when the shit hit the fan with me, and it really did, like literally in one night, you know. uh and I hit the streets. I mean, I walked every day because, first of all, I didn't have anywhere to live, and but the main reason I did it was to stay alive, was to keep my sanity. You know, so it's 100-degree weather, and I'm pulling everything I got. I got blue jeans and boots on, and I'm walking all through the streets of Houston. But it was my resolve. Like, I was not going to be defeated. You know what I mean?
Me neither,
So I think that the dark, what you said about the dark is, well, it's the absolute truth. You know, the light doesn't take you to the light. The dark takes you to the light.
Exactly.
Now, if you're in a space where there is no darkness, but I don't see anybody walking on water either, do you? You know?
No, not yet.
So I imagine it'll be in Montana when it happens.
Yeah,
So
they'll be on your show, I'm sure, eventually.
right.
Walking on
We
water.
will. So I got to produce a show in 5 minutes, and I really want to, expand this. I think, something's going on, and you know this.
Yes.
So you've already got the message. So I support that. We support that, and let's do it. And this is all coming at the right time, because after a long, long time of working on expanding the network, we're finally breaking ground, and so it's a good time to. And part of that's going to be to produce shows, produce expressions, collaborations for other people, like the one I'm about to do. I'm not on the screen. I just put it all together, and they do their thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, but definitely on this show, would love to have you back on. Maybe we can set something up later in the month or next month, and maybe you and your husband, if you guys want to come on. In fact, if you guys want to come on Saturday, we're having I haven't announced it yet, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 couples coming on, just to talk about, not to talk about divine union so much, but to talk about what the hell's going on from the couple's perspective, on 8A.
Lovely.
Yeah, but if you want to do that, send me an email to that new email that you talked to Leilani. Is that cool?
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Check with John. It was
I love you.
meeting
You're the fucking bomb, man.
You're my brother, definitely.
Yeah.
I know you.
All blessings to you and yours. I'll see you soon. Okay.
All right.